a blessing for us to have. And Nancy, like you said, you've watched the whole thing grow. We were talking about this the other day. Literally, the very first TV show that Helping Seniors ever had done. Hal was on crew. I was on crew helping kind of like behind the scenes. Joe Steckler was actually hosting. And I think it was you, Nancy Deardorff, and Dr. Lee Sheldon, who today is still on our board. And that was like the very first show that we ever did.
Yes, that's the first time I met you.
Yeah. So it's been a while, and we've been after this for quite a while. And we're going to talk about the Helping Seniors car raffle because that's our big fundraiser. But we're going to talk about a lot of topics. We're going to free range over a lot of stuff. But it's so important because people don't often understand, and I've really gotten this understanding as we've gone along in the Helping Seniors world, that we can only go as a nonprofit. There's no reason for us to exist than other to serve the community that we exist to serve. There's no other reason for us to do what we do. And so because of that, though, we depend on the community to support us to be able to do the work we do. If you don't help us, we can only go as far as you will help us to help us. So many, many years ago, I think, Nancy, this goes all the way back to Brevard Alzheimer's days, Joe had made friends with A.J. Hires of the car dealership fame, and Joe was trying to get the Joe's Clubs built and get all of that going. And he made friends with AJ, and AJ said, sure, here's a great idea. If we have a car and we raffle off the car, it's fun. It's, people want to help.
Yes.
So it's a fun way for them to help. But now here we are, 8 years. This is going to be our 8th annual car raffle, Nancy.
I know, it's hard to believe. And we thank AJ Hires so much. And this year we have 7 cars to choose from in our annual fundraising car event. So that's the most we've ever had, and all thanks to AJ Hires.
Yeah, it's funny. We've been out at a lot of car appearances lately, and people pick up this little, we call it an insert, but it's a little flyer. Basically talks about it. There's literally 7 cars in the chase, and the winner gets to pick. It's 1 car we give away, but the winner gets to pick. And a lot of people have asked us, we said, no, AJ has basically one of every dealership that really counts anyway. Yep. And so that's why he offers up a car from each of the dealerships, and that's why the winner gets to choose. Like last year, our winner, Diane Pelak, she picked the Mitsubishi Outlander, which is a cool little SUV. I think the year before, Gail McGinnis was 100% Chevrolet Camaro, and that's what she went home with. The year before that, we had a winner, David Odahowski. He picked the Kia Sportage, which is in the race again this year. And then I think along the way, we've given away Camaros, Dodge Challengers. It's just been an incredible journey with this, but it's all coming up really quickly because it's a week from Sunday, October 27th. We're going to be back out at the American Muscle Car Museum. Jen, were you there last year? Have you been?
No, this is going to be my first year, and I cannot wait.
Oh, my goodness. Nancy, tell her what she's in for.
Well, you're going to love it. And this year we're doing it a little bit different. It used to be always on a Saturday evening. This year we changed it based on our huge success last year. So this year it's going to be on Sunday, October 27th from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. And the event's going to be both inside the American Muscle Car Museum and outside. And we've added a lot of things this year that are going to be just fun. First of all, it's kid-friendly. Each adult ticket holder, and it is a donation to us, that's what keeps us going, gets to bring up to 2 children, 10 years of age or younger, so kids that age are free. We're going to have food trucks. We're going to have a DJ. We're going to have a mini car show outside with some great cars. We're going to have what we're calling Adventure Lane, full of vendors that can tell you about what they do at their business and also fun things to do in the SpaceCoast in Brevard County, because our theme this year is Choose Your Adventure. So we want everybody to know what's available out there. Sometimes when you live a place, you don't explore what's there like a tourist would, So we want to put on display all the fun, adventurous things there are to do in Brevard County, and there's so many.
That is going to be so much fun.
It's going to be so much fun.
I love that you're having people be able to bring their children or their grandchildren. It's just going to be a great family event.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, you're saying that so right because, that's what we thought about last night. They tell us there was 6,000 people there last year. So it broke every kind of attendance record that you could possibly imagine. And so when we sat down and we said, well, we want to make the experience even better, this year because we're hoping we have a huge crowd. It's what we need, when you think about it, because everybody, when you buy a ticket, you're making it possible for us to do what we do in 2025. And that's why we need your help. When you get that ticket, you're supporting the work of our nonprofit. You could win a new car, and while you don't have to be present to win, it's so much fun to be out at the museum and explore everything there. And so that's why we do this. And Mark Pylock, who is the very kind and generous owner of that place.
Yes, thank you to Mark Pylock so much.
Every year since he's been open, so it's this will be our 8th raffle, but 7 out of the 8 years he's been open, and each year he's been so kind to invite us back so that we could actually do the grand drawing there, and it makes it an event that is so much fun. But to your point, Nancy and Jen, is by making it a daylight event, so it's going to be daylight both sides of the event. So like when we would do the Saturday evening event, it's daylight when you come in, but starts to get dark because of the time of the year. But then on the nighttime, then you're having to get back out to your car in the dark. So we thought, well, wouldn't this be so much easier for everybody if we just made it a Sunday afternoon fun event, daylight both sides. When it's daylight, we can also be inside the museum, but we can also be outside the museum. So it lets us spread all those thousands of people out.
So we had a lot of positive feedback from the success from last year's event, which was a record for us. But we also had feedback that we could improve. So we got together after that event last year, and we made improvements. We're going to have Melbourne PD directing traffic, so that's easier. Parking will be in the daylight so you can see where you're going. We're going to have transportation. If people need to hop a ride up to, if they're parked far away, if they need to hop a ride up to the museum itself, food trucks. So we heard your feedback, and we appreciate it. So this year it's going to be more fun than ever, I think.
It sounds so incredible. I cannot wait to go. And to go see those cars in person, I can't imagine how fun that would be.
It is. Even if you're not into cars, you will appreciate the museum. It's just an amazing collection.
Yeah, let's take a minute and go through the cars, because I'm curious to hear Jen's pick of cars. Like, this is non-binding, so if you were to win, you could change your mind last minute. But let's go through the cars, because these are really that's why we called it Choose Your Adventure. In the years gone by, there was like 3 cars, 4 cars. I think then we got to 5 cars. This year it's 7 cars, and the two stars of the whole universe of these cars was always, people thought the Chevy Camaro was like the be all end all, and Ashley Caswell with Roll IT, she's on our board of directors, and years ago now she's our president. She's been on the board forever. A wonderful lady, Jennifer Barton, who's our president, but also has her own company called Seniors Helping Seniors. The first year this became evident that there was a Dodge Challenger and a Chevy Camaro, they both got into I call it like a sports, like a friendly rivalry. Like Ashley was all about Camaro, and Jennifer has always been all about the Dodge, and they'll like trash talk each other's car and stuff like that. So we decided to take it actually to the streets. Well, Mark Pylock streets, just to be careful. And so we're on his private closed test track, and they got to get together and have their Team Dodge and Team Chevy and run these cars out. And it was always hilarious, and it was getting more and more out of control to literally last year, Sheriff Ivy had to step in. I mean, it's all caught on film. You have to see it. It was cute. Sheriff, they didn't know it was coming, and the sheriff pulls them over. And even though they knew, everything was fine, they were like hopping out of the car, like, what do we do? So the Dodge and the Chevy were always like the kind of the focal point. But this year, as sadly we know, there is no more Chevrolet Camaro. And there is no more Dodge Challenger, at least for the time. They kind of retired the muscle cars. So we said, well, how are we going to make this fun and exciting? And so as we were talking to the different managers at the different stores and working with AJ and trying to figure out, we said, there's such a great variety of automobiles. Let's talk about something this way. Everybody has like a total variety. And then I think it was Ashley who coined the phrase, well, let's choose the adventure. Some people say, what I would really love to do would be, and Ashley, of course, would say this, have a Chevrolet Colorado pickup truck, because she's all about Team Chevy. Well, so that's like a hauling adventure. It's wonderful because if you want to go camping or all these different things, you have the ability to do that. And it's really a cool little truck because it's got 4 doors, so you can do all the family stuff but still have room to do all the hauling stuff. And then AJ's folks up at Boniface hires Dodge, Jeep, Chrysler, Ram. I think I said it all right. They said, let's put in a Jeep Compass So if you feel like four-wheeling and all that, you've got that available to you. And then
if you want torque, you got.
Yeah, we got the Dodge Hornet,
Yeah.
which is another. So that's funny because there's a thing that's going to come up. We thought we would do it 1 week exactly to 10 days exactly to the minute of the grand drawing. So 2:30 p.m. tomorrow, you'll want to be on YouTube and you'll want to be on Facebook because we're going to debut. We call it the Choose Your Adventure Showdown. So we couldn't do Dodge versus Chevy, but it still sort of turned out Dodge versus Chevy because Ashley decided to be Team Chevy and try to race the truck against Team Dodge, which is Jennifer in the Dodge Hornet. And it's going to be hilarious to see how all that turned out. So that's tomorrow at 2:30, and you'll see it between now and the car raffle. But so we've talked about several of the choices in there, but there's also an elegant choice. We call it the Mazda 3, which is a neat little sedan. There's a couple of SUVs you can pick from in there. Both the Mitsubishi Outlander returns and does the Kia Sportage. So there's 7 great.
Well, and not to mention the Mazda Miata.
Oh.
If you're into sporty.
Thank you, because I would have forgotten that.
Yep, that's
right.
our 7th car.
That's
it's not on the flyer. We found that out a little bit after our flyers were printed.
Yeah.
But that's the 7th car. So the return of the Mazda Miata.
Yeah, and there's a lady on our who's been involved in helping seniors for a while, Vicki Moore Insurance Solutions. She's a real expert on all things Medicare. And years ago, she drives a Mazda, and she said, "I'm all about the Mazda." So it's interesting how everybody's picked a corner of this thing. So Jen Hardy, to put you on the spot of all these cars, what sounds good?
I would have to go with the truck. And the reason is my children do surf school every summer, and we're at the beach every single day with surfboards.
Oh, that
so
would
I
be
need
perfect.
something that I can put the surfboards
Yes.
I love
in.
it.
So that is mine. Yes.
Now, Nancy, we can't win because we're helping seniors. But
Right.
do you have a favorite in this? I haven't asked you
You know,
that.
I love all the vehicles, and I've had a chance to drive most of them.
Yeah.
I'm a practical kind of gal, and I, too, because we go all around the county, have to haul
Right.
stuff. So my husband has a truck. I would probably go for the Mazda.
Yeah.
Because I've owned a Mazda before, not
Yeah.
the same model, but I'm a Mazda fan. But all the cars are really nice choices. I've driven the Mitsubishi, the Kia. They're all awesome choices.
No, they are wonderful, and this is why you got to get a ticket because this is part of the fun. So when you get a ticket, one ticket is $25, 5 tickets for $100, and let me explain how this works. Each ticket is a chance to win. Okay, so you're in the hopper with your ticket, one ticket for $25, 5 for $100, but then each ticket is also your admission to the grand drawing event. And again, it's going to be inside and outside the museum. And I want to explain how this is going to work because there is a small change from last year. You know, we have everything in the world has gone up price-wise, right? You know, we hear about it on the news all the time. You go to the grocery store, it costs you more. You do this, it costs you more. We've kept the price of helping seniors tickets for 8 years now. It's always been the same, a $25 donation or 5 for $100. And Joe Steckler, our founder, has always been adamant about that's what it should be for this. So what we've decided to do was expand things inside and outside the museum. So everybody with a ticket can go in the front part. Mark is providing soft drinks, water. There's going to be some chocolate chip cookies and things there. We're setting up a village outside the museum where we're going to be able to have cars. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute. There's going to be a whole lot of outside exhibits. Everybody's entitled to that. We're doing wristbands to get you into the back part of the museum, which is Mark's big collection. It's like close to 500 cars now. And so what Mark said as a policy, he says he's asking that everybody show 2 tickets to be able to go to the back. So if you get, but also as a part, the give back on that is if you have kids, they get to come with you for free. So you don't have to worry about getting them a ticket. So we're going to have wristbands is how this is going to work. So if you check in and then we'll give you a wristband if you've got 2 tickets and you're going to the back is how that's going to work. So what's really exciting about this whole opportunity is it's inside, outside, and we have DJ Big Papa, who's wonderful. He's at all these car shows. He's a real friend of the Helping Seniors organization, and he's going to be set up. And so one of the things that everybody talked about was because we heard from people last year, there was so many people there, Jen, that the people at the back of the room, as large as that place is, there's like 2 aircraft hangars, the sound system they had at the front of the room. So when Mark is trying to read the winning ticket number, people in the back couldn't hear it.
Right.
And so we said, okay, that's why we're going to do the drawing outside this year. So DJ Big Papa is bringing his big sound system, so it doesn't matter if there's 20,000 people out there, they'll be able to hear it.
Plus the advantage is we've expanded the space, right? Again, based on feedback, because we had such an overwhelmingly wonderful response last year.
Yeah.
So now there's more room for people to roam around, and they can go in and out of the museum as they could go outside and get a bite to eat from a food truck, and then go back into the museum to view the cars. So that was another expansion that we did based on feedback from last year.
No, absolutely. And so, Jen, I wanted to ask you, you know, this is going to be fun for you to be able to be out there and see everything goes on. The museum is an experience, and we're so fortunate to have such a collection right here in Melbourne, Florida. And I'm surprised because I will talk to people like when we're out at a car show, or we've been blessed to be able to be out at a lot of the churches recently because they've invited us in. They know the importance of us trying to raise funds for the Helping Seniors. So Ascension Catholic, for example, we were allowed to be there this past weekend, and everybody would come out of the service and say, no, we want to get involved. We want to help you guys continue to do the service you do in the community. But all of this, I'm surprised we keep meeting people who did not know that we had this. It's like, what is the muscle car? And then you explain, you say, you know where the Walmart is right there at Wickham and Sarno?
Yes.
And then we always talk about, because I guess Club 52 is right behind it.
Right.
But we say it's this like walled-in compound. It's got all these giant
people either just don't notice it, or they don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And actually, it is the United States' largest private collection of American muscle cars and other memorabilia right here in Melbourne.
Oh, that's so exciting. I can't wait to go.
You guys are going to have such a blast being out there. And you'll be, even though we've been in there every year. So I love to tell this story too, because this is now our 7th year of doing the drawing there, even though it's our 8th raffle, because Mark's only been open 7 years. But the first time he opened up, he had like about 250 cars. So the place is huge. I mean, it's like 2 aircraft hangars. And the cars are very far apart. And then each year he keeps getting more cars. And so we noticed we come back the next year and the cars are closer together, come back the next year, they're closer together, come back the next year. Now he's got double stacks. And I was asking Andrew and Ed, who are the guys who really keep that place humming for Mark. And they said, yeah, we're talking about triple stacks now because Mark keeps getting cars. You're going to have such a good time, Jen.
It's going to be amazing. And you know what I like, too, as a parent of children with special needs? It's inside and outside.
Yes.
Which means that everybody can bring everyone.
Yes.
And it's going to be okay. And
yes.
I think that's something to talk about, too, because for us, that's very important. And so I'm excited that my children can go, and they love cars. And my 15-year-old thinks she's going to win one. So we'll see how that
you
goes.
never know.
I don't think, do you have to be 18 to
You're
win?
supposed to be 18 to win.
Okay. So her parents could win, and she
Her
could
parents
drive
could
it when
win
she turns 16.
and test drive it until she turns.
There we go.
There you go. That will work.
Okay.
So the point is, you got to be in it to win it. Nancy, how do we get tickets? Talk about some of the ways.
You can get tickets multiple ways. Anytime we're out at an event, which is listed on our website, we have tickets available. This coming weekend, I'm going to be out at St. Luke's down in Micco.
Yep.
So I'll have tickets on site there. We'll also be at Dunkin' Donuts.
That's right.
In Indian Harbor Beach or in the Atlantic. Dunkin' Donuts this Saturday from 8 to noon. We'll have tickets on sale. But we also have tickets via our website. So if you go to helpingseniorscarraffle.com, you can get your tickets there. You can also call our phone number at 321-473-7770, and Karen or one of our most helpful volunteers would be happy to process a secure credit card transaction over the phone and get you a receipt sent. And then also at all Boniface Hires dealerships. So we have the Kia dealership, we have Mitsubishi, Mazda, Chevrolet, and then Dodge, Jeep, Ram. What am I missing?
Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Chrysler.
Yes, which is all together up in Cocoa.
Yeah.
So those all tickets are on site there as well. So if there's any questions, just give us a call, 321-473-7770. Now, I do want to mention we do have tickets available the day of the event.
Yes.
Again, it's 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. on Sunday, October 27th. A couple of cautions. Number one, we tend to have a lot of people that get their tickets at the event last minute. And we certainly will have them this year, but the line starts to form. We don't want you to spend time in line. We want you to spend the time exploring the inside and outside of the American Muscle Car Museum. So for all ticket holders and people who are going to get tickets on the day of the event, get there early. Get there before the doors open, because there will be a long line. This has grown to be a very, very popular event. So that's my best advice. But any way you want to get tickets, we will get you one.
Okay. Well, and one final point, as I was just trading emails with Marty Upton, who's our business manager, he said if people order before Wednesday, she's going to put them in the mail.
Yes.
So 1 week from today is your deadline. Otherwise, you'll be on will call. But Nancy's right. Get your tickets early. Well, we're going to take our mid-show break right now. We're going to really come back and shift gears, and we're going to start talking about internet, AI, and all the cool things that happen in the podcasting world with our special guest, Jen Hardy. So stick with us.
To get back to the second half of Helping Seniors of Brevard for this Wednesday afternoon, and let's reintroduce the Executive Director of Helping Seniors of Brevard and the host of our show, Kerry Fink. Hi, Kerry.
Hey, John. Thank you so much. Always. It's fun to continue the conversation right here on 90.3 FM, WEJF Radio. And thank you if you're listening along on WEJF.net, or if you're continuing with the podcast. We so appreciate you being here. We've been talking a lot about the car raffle in the first half of the show, and I just kind of want to do a real quick recap, but leave us a lot of time to really get into the heart of what we want to talk about everything with podcasts, AI, just how you learn stuff online and things like that. But real quick, to recap the car raffle, we were having a really good discussion with Nancy Deardorff, who is part of the Helping Seniors organization. She's really helping us on everything. She's been involved with this actually since before there was a Helping Seniors, helping Joe all the way back in Brevard Alzheimer's days, but now really helping us pull everything together with the car raffle and the people that are partnering with Helping Seniors and helping us do an even better job. She comes to us with how many years? 30 plus years registered nurse experience.
Yeah. I don't practice anymore, but that experience as a registered nurse sure does come in handy for what we do.
It's so invaluable. I was telling somebody the other day, really, I want to brag on you for a minute, because the work that you do in this organization is so important. You bring to the table all your experience of the nursing skills and everything, and you were in some very tough areas, oncology and things like that along the way. But then you have also got business experience, because you ran one of the largest home health agencies here in this community. And so you have all the experience of working directly with managing people and pulling all that together. And then you've been involved in the nonprofit world for all these years as well. So you're really like a triple benefit to everything we try to do in the Helping Seniors world. So thank you for all you do, Nancy.
Thank you, Kerry, and you're too kind. And I just want to give a shout out to Joe Steckler, our founder. Joe Steckler started all this, and Joe, we thank you for that, because we're really a very unique organization that's specifically focused on seniors, and we try to help everyone. I want to say hello to Joe. Thank you to Joe for creating this wonderful organization. To Joe Steckler, our founder, my second father, my mentor, and the person who made this all possible.
We were smiling at something recently. I think Jennifer and I were in because Jennifer is the one that when Joe said we got to pass the baton, it's time now. You young whippersnappers have got to keep this thing moving. Even though I talked to Joe yesterday and he's busy writing an article right now.
Oh yeah, he's still involved.
He goes, I want this to get out so everybody knows how important it is to support us in the car raffle. I was like, please, Joe, get it to me. We'll get it e-blasted. But that's just Joe's spirit, and he's always been like that. But we were talking. I think Jennifer and I got to talking. It's like we're all here because of Joe. Joe is the one who inspired us all to kind of do this. So what a great thing. And Jennifer has kind of been side by side, every step of the way. She knows this business because
almost from the beginning, not quite from the beginning, but very shortly thereafter, right. Jennifer became a board member.
Yeah. And then her and her mom, they established the Seniors Helping Seniors here. And those are people that are so well respected for the care they hire. It's such a benefit. They hire seniors, they put them to, they help seniors with the seniors that they hire. And then she's on the cutting edge of all this technology stuff called electronic caregiver. And I'm so excited to see where all that leads us. But my point was, back to the car raffle, is everybody kind of is all hands on deck. We need your support for the car raffle. Get your tickets today. Call us at 321-473-7770. Karen or one of the great volunteers that are helping us now will be happy to get you set up with tickets, or you can just visit helpingseniors.com. But be in it to win it. So with that, I want to kind of shift gears and start talking to Jen. You hit a milestone that I remember like a couple of weeks ago, I was fortunate enough to be a guest on your podcast. You had people from all over the country, if not all over the world, because you were celebrating the fact that you now hit like over 1 million YouTube views. And then you're telling us when you come into the studio today, well, you can add another 500,000 to that just since that a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, that's so exciting.
It has been a wild ride, and it's so much fun.
Yeah, let's talk about the podcast, because our first connection was you said, Kerry, I'm doing this podcast called Fabulous Over 50, which I thought that fits everything. We talk about in helping seniors. We get asked this question a lot, Nancy, like, what do you consider a senior? And so while maybe the bulk of the people that we end up working with directly may be 65 plus, and that's a quarter of us here in Brevard County. But I always joke, or maybe it's not a joke, ARP sends you a card when you're 50 and calls you a senior. And if you go by that metric, half of us in Brevard County are seniors. And Nancy, I know you've seen this just when we take the calls. Like a lot of times, somebody over 50, but they're trying to help their parent who's in their 80s or something.
Absolutely. And we never turn anyone down. I've had younger people call, and we'll try to help them as much as we can. But yeah, 50, I love the Fabulous Over 50 thing, Jen, because 50 is really the time you should start preparing for when you're 65.
There you go.
You still have 15 years to plan, so don't be shy. Call us, and we need everybody to get on board making their own aging plan, because we want that to be smooth and not a traumatic transition into what our needs are and how that changes as we get older.
100%. Jen, how did Fabulous Over 50, was that where you started, or how did tell us how that came together?
So long story short, I started helping moms with health issues because I have 7 children and I had some health issues, and it was really difficult to navigate. And so I started creating things for those moms. I wrote them a book. I started the podcast. But to be honest, talking about being sick all the time after 8 years was too much. And I wanted to do something fun. And I was at PodFest, which is a podcasting event, and I looked around and I thought, what segment of this population is not being represented? And it was the women over 50. And I thought, oh my goodness, we can have fun with this. Yeah. We're going to throw glitter at it and wear sequins and do all these fun things that we never did before. And so we take aging and we look at it, we say, we know it can be rough, right? But we're going to make as much fun as we can and have as much fun as we can. And I get to interview some incredible people on my show to encourage and uplift women and just show them it doesn't matter what age you are. You can do anything you set out to do.
See, and the first time you explained it to me, I said I just really fell in love with that whole concept, because I think the 50 plus is your best time of your life, right? Because you've had a chance to kind of stub your toes maybe on a few things, and you've kind of figured out, like, this is how we can do this. And, in our own home, we have the luxury of being empty nesters. So all of a sudden, the things we used to ask our kids for permission to do, we can just haul off and do. There's no debate at the dinner table about what's for dinner. And all those, whatever we want to do this weekend, we don't have to check somebody's schedule. We can just go haul off and do it. And so there's a lot of freedom that comes as you get over 50. And so, but there's also preparation you want to think about so that you're doing the right thing, so that because we're all living longer. One of the things we talk about as a pitch for helping seniors, and why Joe was so really so ahead of the curve, because when he started this, there was a lot of seniors, but today there's many more for a lot of reasons. People are turning 65, and people are just flat living longer, so there's more seniors on that end. And then, of course, everybody wants to move to Florida, so we're getting a lot more seniors every way. And what you're doing with Fabulous Over 50 adds so much for all these folks.
Well, I appreciate that. And I've realized, I've talked to so many women over 50, and it seems that between 50 and 55 is a pivotal time for women. And I know you were saying it's a freeing and all these things, being an empty nester, but as a woman, a lot of women are lost at this time. They were moms, now their children are out of the house. They are looking at the end of their career, or maybe they're done with their career, and they're thinking, who am I? It's a whole rejuvenation period, or a sad time. And so we're trying to make it more of a rejuvenation, an exciting time, and encouraging women to go explore those things. Maybe you fell in love with when you were younger. People told you couldn't. Maybe you wanted to do art and they said, oh, you're not going to make money at that, right? Or you want to be a doctor, but it's too much money. But now you could go out and do anything. And it's never too late because you've got decades. So you can still go and do all those things.
I love that. You know, I have to, I remind myself periodically because I am a lady over 50. And I think about my sister and I had an 18-year age gap. She was 18 years my senior. So when she turned 50, I said, how does it feel? And of course, I was 18 years younger. And she said, it's very strange feeling to know, and a lot of people think this way, so we've got to turn around this thinking. She said, it's weird to know that there's more life behind you than there may be in front of you. And that's a very negative view of aging. I always look at aging like aging is a privilege. If you live to be 70, 80, 90 years old, yes, there's problems that go with that, which is what Helping Seniors of Brevard is here for. But I think that's a privilege. It's better than the alternative, right?
Oh, my goodness. I actually just did a short on YouTube about this that I posted last night about it is a privilege. And this whole anti-aging thing.
Yes.
What is the opposite of aging? It is a privilege to age, and we want to age, and we want to make the best out of it. And I think our culture tells us, you know, men mature, but women get old. We need to stop that.
Yes, we
Yes.
do.
So that's
Yes.
why,
Amen. Amen.
you know, I mean, this is the time to just go out and do whatever makes you feel beautiful, because when you do that, you radiate beauty and everyone else sees it.
Yes.
And I'll tell you what, I've got a collection of women, and we are all going out there sharing this message with everyone, because I think it's time for everyone to see what natural aging looks like, so we don't have this expectation that we're going to look 18 or we're ugly, right?
Right.
Everyone is beautiful exactly where we are.
Yes. God doesn't make mistakes.
No.
Exactly. No.
I'm so encouraged by what you guys are saying, because it's so needed. You know, we have talked about the fact that many times, you know, if you excel in your career, you become, quote, the senior vice president. You become the senior technical analyst. You become the senior, whatever, you know, they add that adjective. And that really should be how we view seniors, right? Who has more experience at everything in life than a senior does? And, you know, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because, you know, the only thing constant in life is change anyway. And so we go through seasons, and we need to make the absolute best we can through our senior years as well. Why would we write them off and say, oh, it's all in the rearview mirror? That's a terrible way to think about it. I mean, you can have great memories, and some of us may have not so great memories, but we can all share like a bright future by doing these things and sharing that. I think one of the parts of what you do is that you're building a community of people who are understanding that there is great things ahead.
Absolutely. And we need to work together with younger people as well, with younger adults especially, because in our culture, we've actually come to a time where the word boomer is a bad word. It's a slam. And, you know, we shouldn't be looking down on the people that have experience. We should be looking up to those people. I know when I was a young adult, I loved talking to women that were in their 60s and 70s because they had such great advice. And I think, you know, most other cultures value people who are older. And it's time that we do that again.
It is. And a big secret that those of us over 50 know that people in their 20s and 30s may not realize is the older we get doesn't really affect our mental age unless we let it. Because I myself do not feel my chronological age. I feel much younger than that. Yep. And I've talked to 70 and 80-year-olds that feel the same way. So we definitely need to turn around ageism in this country, what that means. Everybody brings value to the table, and stop the intergenerational arguing about what generation is better than another.
Exactly. It kind of reminds me in elementary school. I don't know if you remember, but when you were in sixth grade, if you're schooling up to sixth grade, you were it, right? You were it. And then, every group just wanted to talk to their own age and do their own thing. And we homeschool. And so we don't have that. And I'm not saying homeschooling is better. It's just different in that everyone kind of works together. And it's taught me how liberating that is, to be able to see everyone as being equal and fair game, and you can be friends with people that are all ages. In fact, my grandma, when she turned 60, she said, I will not have any friends over 40 because I want to stay young forever. And I think, and back then people were more open to that, and I think we just need to be more approachable. And one bit of advice I can give to people over 50 that I have learned in talking to all these people is, we do have a lot of advice. We have a lot of great things that we want to share, and we want to impart that wisdom on everybody, but not everybody wants to hear it. And one thing you can say is, can I offer you a piece of advice? Can I tell you? Asking that question will almost always have the person say yes. But if you tell them you should do this, that's when the doors close. So that is my one piece of advice for everybody over 50 today. Well, that, and know that you're beautiful and you are the person you're supposed to be right now in your body, whatever you look like, whatever you're doing. It's so important to know.
Wow, that is so good. Jen Hardy with Fabulous Over 50 podcast. I was thinking about that, because a lot of times we start this in our head about, well, the road's over, blah, blah, blah. And, there were two quotes, and funny, these both come from two different pastors that I respect very much. But one of the quotes is, this was Dr. Miles Monroe, and he said, where the best ideas are? He said, they're in the graveyard. And he said, because people die with these great ideas that God has given them about things that they can do. And so the second one was a story that our pastor likes to tell. And he was talking about the fact that, the guy who founded Kentucky Fried Chicken had failed so many times in his career. In fact, was put out of business basically by the interstate system not running through the town where his little restaurant and things were. So he decided to become a traveling salesperson who mixed up those spices for his fried chicken. And at age 65, he's establishing Kentucky Fried Chicken. Now, that was all those years ago.
Yes.
And we talk about the fact that today, 65 is like the new 40, and 85 is probably like the new 60. It's just because we are able to do so much more medically. We have better understandings about fitness and things like that, all the things we need to do. And so that's why it used to be odd, and I say this all the time, people would turn 100 and they would stop down a national morning show to honor that one person who's turned 100, and now it's not unusual.
Right.
All these.
It's becoming more and more common. And I want to talk about Colonel Sanders and Kentucky Fried Chicken. Since we're talking about Fabulous Over 50 for women, that recipe was his wife's recipe.
I did not know. See, there's another new
There you
thing.
go.
How about that?
There you go.
So this is the point. It's like you don't know what's left inside of you. And that's why I want to applaud you, Jen Hardy, with Fabulous Over 50 for bringing that to the table, because it's easy to get down in the dumps and say, oh, maybe my best years are past me. But you're talking about really reinventing yourself so that you can enjoy what lies ahead.
Absolutely. And I have to say, even if you have health issues or your body doesn't do exactly the things that you wish it did and you can't get out, because we have the internet and we have computers and we have all these things, you have access to the entire world at your fingertips. And you may not know how to use those things, but you can find out. It's so easy to reach out and ask a younger person, ask a grandchild. They would be thrilled to show you how to do things, but your whole world will open up if you open up a computer.
See, one of the things I was going to ask you about is I said, here's a person that I look up to who really understands technology at a whole different level. You've studied the AI, you've done classes and do classes helping us learn how to harness the power of AI, in all the things that we're trying to accomplish in the Helping Seniors world. And you've helped a lot of the businesses. I remember Chef Jillian Zabris with Chefs for Seniors. She was in one of the first classes and taking notes like crazy because, when you're a business person and you're trying to do all you're doing and you're entrepreneurial, you need every advantage or every help. But look at you. You have you always been techie, or is this something as you just kind of moved up in years, you said, I want to figure out how this works?
I've always been techie. So my dad was at the cutting edge of all the tech. And so from the time I was young, that's what I did. And we did that together. So yeah, we, from our failed Apple III computer and the Betamax we had all the way up. Yeah, this is something that I've always been into, but it is amazing, Kerry. I taught that AI class just a couple months ago, and everything has completely changed since then, and I cannot wait to teach people more, because everything is at your fingertips, and it thrills me to be able to bring it to people. And I know that a lot of people don't like AI. It's a little bit scary, and I'm not going to lie, it's very scary. But here's the thing, especially if you have a business or you want to be out there doing something moving forward, it's like a wave. It's like a tidal wave, but it's a tidal wave you can ride. And I want to help people by giving them surfboards.
Well, and it's only scary if people don't use it correctly or design it correctly.
Right.
Well, and the thing is, if you don't know how to use it, the wave is going to cover you, because it's coming, and it's doing so much. And, there are some things, but you also have to be safe and protect your personal information, which is a whole talk for another day.
Yes.
There is so much for us to pull out of this. But, I was thinking, like, we've only had smartphones. Let's be honest. We've only had smartphones till 2008. Would we want to put up our smartphones and go back to the way it was? I don't think so. And so, yes, we've had to learn things, and we've had to learn how do you download an app, or how to, but think about it. We've talked about this so often in the Helping Seniors world. We want to do better about this, creating classes and things to help people use their smartphones, because you go to the doctor. Where do they want you to schedule your appointment or check in for your appointment? On your smartphone. What does your bank want you to do? They want you to make your deposit with your smartphone. What does your pharmacist want you to do? They want you to check and see if your prescription's ready on your smartphone. All these things that we used to have to make a phone call or drive someplace to do, the world is at our fingertips. And I think that's the point that you're making, Jen Hardy, is that if we can learn how to make technology our friend, also understanding where the booby traps and the pitfalls are, so we don't fall into those, but do this the right way, it could really help us in every way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we would like to come into the community and help seniors learn some of this technology so that they can be part of it. But also, can I talk about our grandparents' cruise for a minute?
Please do.
Okay, this is so exciting. So my husband's a gamer. I'm more of a traditional board gamer, and my children are gamers. And we realized in talking to a lot of our friends that a lot of our friends that are grandparents are having a hard time connecting with their grandchildren because their grandchildren are so into tech and the grandparents don't get it. So we are putting on a week-long cruise. No parents invited. So parents, you get to go take that week you wanted to do whatever, and it's just grandparents and grandchildren. We're going to stop at some islands. You can get off the boat and do some things. But then when you're on the ship, we're going to teach grandparents how to play Minecraft. You're going to learn who Steve and Alex are. You're going to learn what a mod is. You're going to learn about going into the nether, and you're going to know what all these things mean by the time you come home. Not only that, but we're setting up a server, and if you don't know what that means, that's okay, but it's a thing that's going to keep you connected with your shipmates after you get home, because
cool.
When you leave something, you always want to stay connected, and this is going to be the way to do it. But not just that, because parents are not going to send their children on a ship and pay for them to be on tech the whole time. So we're going to teach them how to do board games. So they're going to do what you enjoy doing, and you're going to do what they enjoy doing, and you are going to find a connection on a whole new level. Absolutely incredible. Coming up next June 2025.
Oh, that is awesome. What an awesome idea.
I love it. It's like, sign us up for this. This is great. Because, and what I love about cruise ships just in general, because as you know, we do a lot on the Helping Seniors Foundation cruise stuff. But the thing I love about it is you can bring families together and really have a great time, but everybody is not up under everybody 24 hours a day. So like there's so many activities, like kids will go off and do this, and then the parents will go off and do this, or in this case, no parents allowed, just grandparents. But then everybody still comes back together for certain events and certain like meal times and things like that. So it's like the best of all worlds.
Absolutely. And we're going to have some times where just the grandparents get together because we want to teach them tech safety. A lot of grandparents don't understand some of the games that are dangerous and some of the apps that are dangerous. And we want to educate them as well and let them get to know each other. And then we'll take the kids, and the kids will get to know each other while the grandparents have have a little bit of a break because let's face it, everybody's going to want to break from each other. Like you said, we need some of that time, and we're going to make it so much fun. It's going to be games.
So how do people get connected? And I mean, a lot of this we're doing through Helping Seniors as well. So we're always trying to keep people updated with that. But like if somebody wants to learn about Fabulous Over 50 or the grandparents and grandkids cruise or all these different things, how do you want them to get connected to you?
So everything is at my website. It's jenhardy.net, JENHARDY.net. And so anything you want is there. And if you can't find it, there's a contact page. Contact me. I'll get right back to you. I'll get you anything you need. But we've got a lot of things going on at our company, Hardy House Media, and it's all right there.
So jenhardy.net, that's where we can find out how we can access the Fabulous Over 50 podcast. We can learn about the cruise. We can also find out about the upcoming AI classes and all of that.
Everything's there.
What a great reason. Nancy, I don't think you got to be in the very first.
I didn't. I missed it.
It was fantastic because she had us all bring in our computers. And so literally it wasn't just like we're sitting here watching her lecture us. She was literally having us do stuff in the class.
That's
so
awesome.
It was
That sounds so
hands-on.
fun.
It was
Yes.
it was terrific. I can't wait for the next one coming. Real quick, you guys are also in charge of SpaceCoast Podcasters, which meets in our offices there at the Joe Senior Resource Center. Talk about that. You've got like 30 seconds to kind of give an intro, but that's a great thing too. If you're an aspiring podcaster, or maybe you already are a podcaster.
Absolutely. And we've opened it up to other creators. So if you are into YouTube or making videos or any of that sort of thing, join us. It's the second Tuesday of every month at 6:30, where Helping Seniors is. And we encourage you, like you said, if you're even thinking about a show, or maybe you're a professional making money, anybody in between, we have an incredible speaker, and we feed you pizza and give you drinks.
You know, it was incredible. I got a chance to attend one of these not so recently, and I was really impressed with the caliber of the people and what they're accomplishing in so many different areas in the podcast world. You really want to check it out. I assume also, again, we try to always put that out on our Helping Senior social media, but again, jenhardy.net is a good way to connect to that, right?
Absolutely.
Well, that's about the time we have for the Helping Seniors radio show. Thank you, Jen Hardy, with jenhardy.net, Fabulous Over 50. And thank you, Nancy, for this. And we're all going to see you guys out at the American Muscle Car Museum a week from Sunday, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. And we're going to find out who the winner is. It should be you if you get your tickets today, helpingseniorscarraffle.com. See you next week.